Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. About 10 months later than I expected, apparently, yes, so I'm back, but, I've been gone? Explanation? Well, for the most part, I haven't been gone, I've been here. I just lost interest, really, in flight simulation, I'm not gonna lie. But I feel like, with everything that's coming out, I was literally sitting on my chair, browsing through one of the Vatsim pages, and I saw that all this new stuff was out. I was like, well, I've got to try all of this new stuff out. Got to get back on YouTube and got to start streaming again. And what I noticed was that you guys were still here, and I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. So I've spent the past week reinstalling my sim, reinstalling all of my new stuff. I have splashed hundreds of pounds into making this sim look as gorgeous as possible, which I hope I have done. I have bought presets, I have bought graphics, different Orbex packs. I've splashed all this money on GSX, which I will get to later. I will get to GSX later, because we're going to have some words with GSX. As you see, the gate is not connected. There's a reason for that, and I will explain later. But I think the important thing is I'm back now, and let's get back into doing the simming. So, where are we today? Well, today we're at Atlanta. Atlanta, a very empty Atlanta, I might add. And we are Southwest 5868, so this is our first time doing a proper American. I know we did the Frontier one ages ago, but this is the first time doing a proper American flight. It was a flight request. I don't have the name for the flight request, but I'll put the name in the description. By the way, you can request flights if you want, just as a link in the description. Fill out the form and I will do your flight request eventually. But this is from Atlanta to Philadelphia, as you probably read in the title, and it's quite an interesting route because the Philadelphia scenery is actually freeware. It's got to be one of my favourite freeware sceneries. The gates don't work, unfortunately, but given the whole thing with GSX that I will go into later, that's not going to be a problem. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the flight, other than we are cruising at flight level 360. We're taking about 9,000, 8,000 kilograms of fuel to get us there, and the flight time's around, an hour, 2 hours, just crossing a couple of the states to get there. I will explain more in detail once we're actually on the flight deck, but I just want to take this brief opportunity to say I'm back and to show off these lovely new shaders that I've installed, courtesy of the Ultra Realism Pack and the PTA tweaking tool that the Bellends, I think his name was, YouTuber Matt Davies, his team implemented, and they just look stunning. I just honestly, and they're so decently priced, £15, and you get this. I mean, that just looks amazing. If you want to enhance your flight simulator, if there's one purchase you're going to make, it's going to be this purchase, and it's going to look amazing. It takes your frame rate hit a little bit, but I think that might actually just be the scenery. This is ImagineSim's Atlanta, and it's absolutely amazing. The gateways I'm having some issues with, once again, because of GSX and SOD, and that's just been a controversy in itself. I will get into that once I'm on the flight deck. But I've rambled on for long enough. We're not in Vatsim today, just because I'm trying to get back into flying and I don't want to go straight back into Vatsim. But I guess I will see you on the flight deck. It might look a little bit different than you remember. That is purely because of the shaders that I've installed. But other than that, it's the same flight deck, everything's the same. I'm going to try and do this properly, but it has been a while, ladies and gentlemen. I will admit that. It has been a very long while. I just adjusted the old timer through there because I completely forgot. Now, we're in America, so the measurements and the transitions are all a little bit different from how we would do things in the UK. So we're just going to go ahead and, I guess, just jump right into it. So the first thing we probably want to do is take a look at this overhead panel, and we'll just slap on the logo lights and the wings and the wheel well on. Arm the emergency lights, and we'll put on the seatbelt. So this is the first things that we should normally do on every flight, is just arm those, because they are very important, and without them your flight will not work. That was a massive lie, but I'm hoping some people actually believe that. I bring the packs on to auto, and I suppose you could do all the checks if you want, and when I say checks I mean just like the cockpit voice recorder checks, but they're not really necessary on this flight. We're going to say that this is the second flight of the day. This is a Southwest jet, so I'm assuming it's been brought over from Philadelphia. The sun's just come up in Atlanta. It's actually just hovering around 11 o'clock-ish Zulu time, so it's pretty early. Most people will have gotten up by now though, so that will be all well and good. Other than that, there's nothing we really need to muck about with on this panel right now. I suppose we could turn the probe heats on, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm actually going to come down here and deal with the fire panel. I love doing this, and I actually miss doing this because it was my favourite bit. Just because you got to do that. I am a big child, I will admit that. We'll just change that one for later. We don't have a squawk code or anything like that because we're not in Vatsim, but I will make one up. Now, bear with me, I'm going to try and remember how I did this. But I believe it was this. See, it's like flying a sim is like riding a bike. Once you do it once, you're not really prone to forgetting it, so to speak. Now, this is a payware scenery, so I'm not sure it's going to register our gate, although that's not really necessary because we can just do that, and our position is loaded in there for us. Again, I've not put in a company route for this because you know me, I like to do everything manually. I'm also thinking about getting into streaming, so if you're up for that, guys, let me know and I will start doing that a little bit more often. And the flight number is SWA8568. I don't actually know what Southwest's call sign is, if it is just Southwest or not. I don't have the runway information either, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to cut quickly and I'm going to bring up all of our weather information we'll need, and I'll be right back with you. So I fixed the flight plan, lads. Basically what I did was I just loaded in a company flight plan because I can't, for some reason it wasn't going through. It's gone through fine, it's in the company route, but I couldn't actually work out which set I was using. I got that worked out, so we can now go on to the perf initialization page, everyone's favourite page. Now, one thing that's annoyed me is that this is in... One thing that annoys me about America is they use pounds instead of kilograms. You backwards people, why do you not use kilograms? Like, honest to God. But, in saying that, we are in America, so it's our job and our duty to stay authentic to the Americas. So, first things first, probably bringing in the zero fuel weight. Now, our reserves are, if you remember, and if you're a hardcore viewer of this channel, are always 1.1 because we are Ryanair till we die, and that cost index of 30 as well. Flight level today is 36,000 feet, and the cruise winds, I will actually just bring up now, are actually supposed to be not that bad, so I heard. Someone may have been lying to me though. Cruise winds are at 246, so 246 degrees at 67 knots. Now, I actually had forgotten how to fly this thing, but I checked out my own tutorial. I watched my own tutorial on how to fly this thing. I swear to God, this is sad, and it actually did help. So I can understand why that video has almost got 20,000 views. On second thoughts, I don't know why, because it's horrible. Like, if you look at that video, that production quality is just so unbelievably bad. Like, I think I made it at the beginning of 2016 or something, and it was just awful, and I feel really bad about it, to be honest. We'll take climb power 2. In fact, no, do you know what we can do? Thingy, here we go. Climb power 1. See? Done. Right, centre of gravity. We'll take flaps 5 for takeoff. And for the runway winds are apparently 110 at 5 knots. So we can slip that in there. Like so. Temperatures, conditions dry, reductions, speeds 1,500. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. In fact, oh no, that's wrong. Hold on. That's not right. Where do I change that? I completely forgot where I was changing that. Was that our N1? Hold on. N1 limit. Yeah, that's wrong. That should be 20. Okay. There we go. Right, that's fine. For a moment there I was like, oh, that's not looking right. That's supposed to be 20. So our V1's 140. And our VR is 140 as well, our V2 is 146. We'll increase from that immediately because we've not got any ATC, so we can shoot right through that, and that's not going to be a problem. Climbing wise, that's the only speed restriction I'm going to put in place because there's none that I can really see that will need to follow the SID, because it's not like we've got ATC, if you know what I mean. So other than this one here, which will pass immediately, so there's no point in putting it in, if you understand what I mean. Yeah. Should we? Sure. Let's go for max angle, because I want to make it look like we're NASA. Or should we go max rate? Yeah, max rate. Let's just get up quickly. Let's forget that. So okay, I don't know why it's there. So we've done the flight planning now. Most of the flight plan is been put in, so we don't need to focus about any of the arrival stuff until we are actually on the ground, or not on the ground, coming up to the approach at Philadelphia. So we can actually probably start looking around at the MCP. The MCP, the autopilot panel, people always ask me questions about it. It's not that complicated, guys. It's really not. The only things you ever need to really know is arm the flight directors, arm the auto throttle, and set this to your V speeds or your V2. Other than that, I will make see, people have been asking me for ages to make a fully fledged Vatsim tutorial, and I would. I actually would, but the problem is with that, Vatsim, there's already so many great Vatsim tutorials out there. There's not really a market for it, if that makes sense. So it's not that I don't want to, it's that there's no market for it anymore. Matt Davies, as I mentioned before, he made a great video on Vatsim tutorials. It's a couple of years old now, and Chewy, who's probably one of my favourite streamers for P3D, made a fantastic video on it. So if I had to recommend anyone, I would recommend you go and watch one of their videos on the subject, because they will be able to teach you. The only thing I would give for advice on Vatsim is just be comfortable. Just know what you're doing, you know? As long as you feel like you're doing the right thing, you probably are. That said, I rarely do the right thing, so I mean, don't ever come to me for advice, you fools, you absolute fools. Just whacking a random squat code in there. And yeah, I think that's us on the flight deck for now, so how about we go outside and let's go on to my rant about GSX. It's one of those add-ons that every simulator fan craves, right? It's one of those add-ons that you cannot go without, if you know what I mean. It adds a certain level of immersion, it adds a certain level of depth, and it makes you feel like you're in the game. However, GSX has recently released GSX version 2, a whole new game. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, the whole new game. This will set you back about $29 US, and it basically adds people. As you can see, this is our flight crew. Myself, I somehow got off and then got back on board, and the co-pilot, and they will basically come up, walk up the stairs, and get onto the aircraft. Now, lots of you, just off that baseless statement, will be saying, what's wrong with that? Surely, for an immersive simulator, seeing the passengers is an immersive thing in itself, and you're right, it is, and it is immersive. But here's what kills it for me. The jetways. And the animation. The animation I'm not too fussed about, but the jetways and the price. Now, for those of you who don't know, what GSX uses SOD in the add-on manager and the FS Dream Team and all that sort of stuff, that's who they're with. So basically, the way it works in GSX version 2 is GSX allows you to edit your parking space, if that makes sense. So you can bring in gateways, jetways from all sorts of places, which is amazingly good fun if you're at a default scenery, because you can get rid of the boring, low graphics type jetways and replace them with jetways like this that actually move and function and make noise, and that in itself is quite a good idea. The problem is, most people that have bought GSX has obviously bought other payware sceneries too, and this conflicts with sceneries like ImagineSim. And what it does is it prevents GSX from functioning properly. So in the end, it ends up you're just left with what this looks like, and you've got like a half static jetway, because what happens is the ImagineSim jetways are actually not movable, they're static. So they're registered as part of the building and the terrain. So in the source files, the developer hasn't actually registered the jetways as separate objects, it's just the one object, which means that GSX doesn't pick it up, which means in the like the area where we change it. So if I want to remove a jetway, which you can do in places like Fly Tampa, you can remove a jetway and replace it with a GSX one, no problem. But in cases like ImagineSim, you can't do that because they're static, and it's really horrible. And a lot of flight simmers have expressed their disdain at the price for what you get is not great. That's all I'm going to say on it, because it doesn't really warrant much more being said, but just know that it's not great. So if you're an investor investing in GSX, if it's your thing and you really desperately want to see little people walking about, which you're about to see in a second, and it does look cool, but if you're not that fussed, don't go for it. Wait off a bit. Wait until GSX version 3 comes out, I don't know. But GSX has also hit us with budget cuts. Instead of having Bill and Ben, we've only got Bill loading on the bags. Famous red and blue bags have made their famous return to the aft cargo hold. And those are the passengers' bags, which we will see getting offloaded at Philadelphia. We're actually waiting on the actual passengers. Where are the passengers? They shoot up. There they are. Now, personally, I love this. I love the fact that I can actually now see my... It makes me feel like I'm transporting something. Before, you had to imagine the passengers were there. That's why everyone loves GSX so much, because you can see the bags going on. It's like, whoa, I'm transporting crates of cargo around the world, especially if you use like a mod like FS Passengers, something like that. It just adds immersion, and at the end of the day, immersion is what we need in flight simulation. So to me, having flight sim passengers coming onto your aircraft is really good, because it adds that extra level that just wasn't there before, just like the bags. But that's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to start drama. Not that I could start drama with a channel this size, but hey ho, you never know. The flight attendants also, sorry for the frame rate lads, it's just because we're at this scenery. The flight attendants also stand there to welcome passengers on board, which is a nice touch. I'll be fair, it's a nice touch. And we can see the passengers. I'm going to get into a really nice angle for this, because I don't want to move the camera about too much and ruin it, because it is quite frame intensive. So you're about to see the passengers getting off for SWA8568. They've all got their boarding passes there, and they're going to start boarding on. So there they all come. There they are. I've wrapped this up to like insane passenger density, because it starts off at a default setting that just doesn't look realistic at all. And I'm imagining this is quite a busy flight. I think we've got, according to my load sheet, we're taking 139 passengers. So it's a lot of passengers we're taking on board, and it's not really impacting the frame rate too much. They just sometimes will clip through each other. But the passengers are now, as you can see, boarding onto the aircraft. Oh, 159 apparently we're taking, never mind. 159 passengers we're taking, and it will show you up at the top, you can see the passengers now getting on board. They'll go in, they'll take their seats. Now this is something. What is that? I'm sorry, but this is not carry-on luggage, folks. That isn't... People... for those of you who don't know, I do actually work in Edinburgh Airport, and I see people like this all the time, bringing through carry-on luggage that size, and it really annoys me, because that's not going to fit on the plane, folks. I'm sorry to say. We've spent too much time outside, I'm afraid. I really want to get underway before the sun goes down, and I know it's just come up, but that's how long we've been sitting here for. So let's let the rest of our passengers get on board, and let's get going to Philadelphia. The passengers are now on board. Unfortunately, I have just discovered that the GSX pushback is not working at this scenery for some reason. Everything else is working apart from the pushback, but considering GSX, and I've just ranted at it, it probably just, probably realised that I said that and now it's boycotting me or something, I don't know. So we're just going to do a couple of final checks just before we take off, bring everything on, just clicking furiously. I have started the APU, so you can see we're now doing APU things. The anti-collision lights should probably come on while we're doing this as well. And have we got fuel in the centre tank? I believe we have some. We'll use, that's pretty much our taxi and takeoff fuel, pretty much. So we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way, for those who remember the old-fashioned way. And the old-fashioned way is to start the engines while doing a manual pushback, which is never a fun thing to do because I always mess it up. But alas, this is the first video, it's going to be all wonky, everything's going to be all messed up, so we're going to try and do it anyway. So let's just go for straight pushback. Can we not do that? Can we not do that? Let's just go 0 degrees, right, let's just go straight pushback, why not? Let's go 150 should be enough, I believe. There, done, right, start. How do we do this?
And ground, cockpit.
Oh, voices.
Go ahead, Captain. We're all set to go up here. We've been cleared to push and start at your discretion.
Roger that, ready for push. Power and air are clear, doors closed. We are ready for pushback. Release parking brake, please.
Release the parking brake.
Okay, parking brake is off, clear to push.
It's clear to push, that's it, they're gone. I remember this about it.
Brakes off, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Right, and start the clock. And what we can do now is, if I remember how to do this correctly, is bring the packs off, and it's engine to like that. Did I do it? Did I do it right? Shall we have a look, ladies and gentlemen? Did I think I did it. Oh yeah, it's right. So it's rising up, and when we get it to 2.5, then we hit then we turn on the fuel cut and switch. See, we're learning. That's exciting. Finally, we're getting a scenery that runs about 10 frames a day. So once it gets to 2.5, we'll bring in the fuel cut-off switch like that. We can actually go outside and watch us get pushed back by nothing. You can see the engine starting to spill up there.
Push is complete. Set parking brake, please.
That was a rubbish push, mate.
All right.
I don't rate that at all.
Pressure's normal.
Okay, sir. Tow bar is on.
Oh
Pin is
my
out.
God.
Watch the pin on the right.
I can't believe that. That's amazing.
All
Great
right,
push.
guys. Thanks. You're cleared to disconnect. We will be watching for the
I like this
pin
guy's
and
accent. He's like
release the guidance
proper.
on the right
This guy's
side
a
of the
Southwest
airplane,
pilot.
And we'll see you guys next time through.
And then we'll do the same for the other
Roger
one.
that. Have a good flight.
Have a good flight. Well, I'm sure we will, Mr. Invisible Man. I'm sure we will. I may actually just default pushes back a little bit extra. Yeah, I rate that. That's a good shout, actually. Right. So we shift P for any of those old flight sim Xers that don't know how to do that. It's that button there, and we'll bring in fuel switch 1 now as well. And that should bring on our this chaseplane thing. I've also invested in chaseplane, moved over for chaseplane from EasyDogs. That's a new thing. I've basically just tracked out on all of the mods that I used to have. But yeah, I'm going to push us back to the yellow centre line, because I believe that will be a good point to then taxi from with lay rudders. Also forgot to do this thing, but I remember loving to do it because it sounded so cool. Right, and we'll stop the push back about there, just in time as well as that came on, and then I believe we switched that to both, and then engine generators can come on, APU, do not need you, runway turn-offs, taxi light can come on, keep that on steady, wheel well light, we'll take that off because I do not think we need it. Packs can come back on, APU bleeds can come off, we don't need the anti-ice right now, but I will bring on the yaw damper, and switch that to try 1 and gen 1, and bring the dome light off, because I don't think we need it now. And yeah, I think that's good to go, other than, no, I think that is it. So everything's pretty much set apart from flaps, so we will set the flaps to 5, and we'll go and have a look at that. Like so, you can see the flaps now starting to come down. This is the good thing about chaseplane. I never got to do this before, so we just assumed it was happening, but we never actually got to see it happening. So this is really cool. I really do like chaseplane. Much better UI than the EasyDog, much easier to use. So yeah, would recommend that 10 out of 10 all the way. Auto brakes and RTO, and the taxi stuff's all done. All our autopilot stuff's done. So I'm pretty sure I'm ready to taxi. So I will skip up the taxi as I usually do, and I will see you at the runway.
Regulation for our passenger compliance with a lot of passenger information signs and posted placards. Basically, just do what we say and nobody gets hurt. And although we never anticipate a loss in cabin pressure, if we did, we certainly wouldn't be at work tonight. But if needed, for oxygen masks off the compartment overhead. Stop screaming, let go of your neighbor, pull under that plastic tubing is fully extended, place the mask over your nose and mouth and breathe normally. To activate the flow of oxygen, simply insert 75 cents for the first minute and 50 cents for each minute. Although that plastic bag may not inflate, you are receiving lots and lots of gin. Oxygen, that is. And if you're traveling with small children, we're sorry. If you're traveling with more than one child, pick out the one that you think might have the most earning potential down the road. And if you're traveling with somebody needing very special assistance, like your husband, bless his heart, or your wife, put on your mask first. That's it for the do's and don'ts of show and tell. Sit back and relax, or you can sit up and be tense. Either way, it's not an hour and a half flight. Game to game, the clock's already ticking. Seriously, if there's anything at all that we can do to make your flight more enjoyable, please tell us. Just as soon as we land in Salt Lake City. And if there's anything you can do to make our flight more enjoyable, we'll tell you immediately. We're the Shine in Southwest. That's what we call very cheap entertainment. Nobody had to pay extra, but you certainly don't get a refund.
Okay, and that's us now at the threshold for 27 right. We'll just quickly put the parking brake on, and I will run through our final checks. Want landing lights off, the taxi light can now come off, make sure those are all on continuous. The strobe lights can now come on to strobe and steady. Anything else that needs to be done? Nothing that I can see off the top of my head. I'm sure we'll find out if I have done anything wrong on the climb. Other than that, just setting the TCAS relay and turning on the weather radar, just to make sure that there's no weather above us. Let's just tilt the weather radar up a bit, because there is a pretty harsh cloud layer right above us. Bring that out to 10 nautical miles, because we're going to have to do a turn as soon as we take off. But we'll keep on the lookout for that. Anyway, let's roll on to the runway now. I hope I've not forgot anything. And that's just Active Sky shouting at me because I've not put in a flight plan because I couldn't be asked. So just throttle up a little bit, and we'll line up in preparation. I'm just trying to get a good takeoff seat, the captain's chair, so to speak. But yes, the cloud layer does look pretty thick, and according to ActiveSky it is pretty thick. But I won't let that deter us. So we'll just line up here on 27 right. There's more than enough space here for this takeoff. Even if we do mess something up, we can override it and get the hell out of here, because this is too much FPS. So let's increase throttle to 50% and toga. Okay, I don't know what just happened there. I hope I've still got control of my yoke. Yes, I do, thank God. Oh my God, that was scary. Oh my God, that was terrifying. Right, the frames will decrease here. That's the caution fuel light, but that's just for the centre tanks. That's 80 knots, increasing through 80 knots. Increasing past 100. Just keep steady on this climb now that we're out of that ear rape territory. Okay, and begin the turn, and we'll engage the autopilot, who will take care of that for us. Gear can come off, auto brake can come off. We're just about to head into that flight layer. We'll do a speed intervention, and we'll bring us up to flaps 1. I'll bring the runway turn off soft now. Everything else is looking good. We'll bring the... Oh my God, is that lightning? No, it was just the clouds. Is that lightning? No, it was just clouds. Okay, right. Yeah, we're going to get a little bit of turbulence here going for this cloud layer just because it is so thick. But hopefully we can get above it. It is going to rock us about for a little bit though, is our only concern. We'll increase speed to 210. And we'll bring back flaps to flaps 2. And we'll just have a wee looky at the outside, shall we? Oh, look at that. Mysterious. Interesting. Very nice. Okay, we're completely lost in this soup. And we can bring our flaps all the way back up now for this climb. This should just bring the sounds down a little bit so you can actually hear my voice, because it does sound like I'm shouting over everything else that's going on. But apart... Oh my God! Oh my God! We forgot to set the trim. Oh my God. I cannot believe that. That is... Wow. Look at that. Wow, that's amazing. ActiveSky. Oh my God. I cannot believe I forgot to set the trim. That is embarrassing. No. Oh, I hate that. That's so bad. Right. We're breaching for the clouds, fellas. We're breaching for the clouds. There's America, looking all America-y. And there's the sun in the blue sky. Look at that. Fantastic. Let's have a little look on the outside. What a view. Oh my God. That's... Like I said, folks, just... That's incredible. What a view. I mean, that cloud layer transition was absolutely stunning. And our frames are now going back up into the 50s and 60s, which are great. So that's fantastic. Look at that. Absolutely incredible. But yeah, that is basically, we're just about to pass through 10,000, so we'll be able to drop the speed intervention. In fact, we should be able to boost it up to 250 now. Like so. The seatbelt signs has just came off there, and everything's looking good. We'll drop the yoke just to have a look at the climb. We're going at a max rate for our ascent, which is going to be fine, I feel. Right, so I will leave you with a lovely montage of the rest of the flight. Sorry about that, forgetting the trim, that's embarrassing. But yeah, I will see you before we land into Philadelphia, so I'll see you then. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are now on the descent into Philadelphia. The weather is actually a little bit better than it was in Atlanta. There's not as many clouds about, so it's actually looking a little bit better than it was originally. We're just on the descent now. We were on an MCP descent course, but I've changed this to vertical just so I can work out everything that I need to, just because I'm going to actually do a intercept rather than just do it with the plain MCP. We're actually getting a little bit of turbulence now, but that's to be expected. The scenery is loading in. Fingers crossed it loads in properly, but I can see it over there glitching. So if it does glitch, all I can do is reload the sim and hope that it works. But if it glitches, then we'll just have to deal with that as it comes, unfortunately. The speed brake's still extended out, so there's not much we can do in regards. The heading intercept that we can plan. So for an intercept, I'm thinking we run parallel, so heading of 90, and then we run up alongside it, and then we can sort of come in and intercept it. Visibility is overall quite good, so we shouldn't have a problem in that regard. Auto brake set to 2 for landing, and it's going to be a manual landing by myself today. We'll go ahead and bring it in speed decrease to 220, just to see if we can bring it down. That's why I'm actually giving it some extra spacing for this manual approach. I'm just trying to figure out what's a good place to run along parallel, because the airport's about maybe 15 miles out, so I'm thinking maybe if we cut our approach vector just in over those buildings, gives us a little bit of time to level off, because we're going in a little bit too fast. And you know what, we'll actually just do that now. So we'll angle ourselves parallel to the runway, and if we just hide the yoke for a second, we can actually make... no, never mind, that is our next waypoint, so we're all good in that regard, so we don't need to do anything there. And we can just descend off, and maybe about 5,000 feet will then cut our approach. What we can actually do though, instead, is just decrease the vertical rate of descent. And what that does basically is it just gives us a little bit more breathing room to decrease our speed. If you look on the outside, everything's looking good. The weather's stunning, so nothing really to worry about in that regard. I'm just worried about the airport scenery over there, just hoping it's loaded in. It is freeware, so it's not like you're expecting anything huge. But hopefully it will run perfectly fine. So we'll just run this track parallel to the approach. We're coming in about maybe 6,000, 7,000 feet, and we'll try and just cut off the descent rate a little bit more, just to keep ourselves slowing down at a good rate. The turbulence now taking a little bit more of an impact, but as far as crosswinds now goes, we're actually looking alright. I think it's just a 7-knot crosswind we've got. And that's just going to be hitting us from this direction, so coming in from the southeast, I believe it is, or it might be the southwest, who knows. Probably the southwest by that, looking at that, but on the active sky, it tells us differently. So the temperature's actually increased more than I believed I thought it would, so we can actually bring off the anti-ice, which is all well and good. The flight itself was alright, not much turbulence or anything like that. And we're just now obviously flying parallel. Gives us a chance to just decrease the vertical speed even more. And again, this is just us giving time for the scenery to load in as well, because if the scenery hasn't loaded in, then hopefully this should give it a little bit more time. The co-pilot screen I have set up as the approach nav, which just gives us a little overview of whether or not we're lined up with the runway. If we aren't, and the crosswind blows us off because my rudders are a little bit janky, I do have little flight HUDs, so that should serve as well. But yeah, I believe we don't really need the speed brake as much now, so what we can actually do is just hold that rate of decel and then prepare to make the intercept, because I do not want to make the intercept at too low a speed. What we can do there is we just risk extending the flight, wasting fuel, and it's just not really economically viable. So what we'll do is once we see the beginning of the ILS approach, we'll cut an intercept and then we'll arm the localizer. That should take us in on the approach. It's very simple. Obviously I've not got much scenery in the way, I've just got Orbit's global base, but I might upgrade that depending on whether or not we'll be in America more often. So we'll begin this intercept by plotting a course of 120, and we'll decrease now to 200 knots. And once we pass 210, we'll bring in the first notch of flaps, and that should work out fine. And now we're coming round, we'll just continue that to 150. And this is now just bringing us over downtown Philadelphia. Or I say downtown, I say outskirts really. Sorry, I get my downtown and Americas sort of mixed up. We'll bring in the first notch of flaps, so flaps 1, and we'll bring in flaps 2 shortly after it. And this just gives us a good decrease. We'll arm the localizer as well. And finally we'll just plot our intercept course 180. And everything's actually now looking good. So we're lined up for the intercept. Obviously we're just now trying to decrease our speed a little bit more. We're getting a couple of throttle warnings, but that's fine overall. And there is downtown Philadelphia there. This is SunJetSky, guys. I've flown into it once before, and it is all freeware, so I would highly recommend getting it if you're travelling to America. It was used for cross the pond. It was the last thing I used it for. We'll bring out the speed brakes a little bit. Yeah, right, hold on. We'll bring our... Yeah, we'll have no problem matching that. We can see we're now coming on to the little purple dots that we love oh so much. And yeah, everything's actually looking good. All we need to do now is be patient and wait for this intercept, and it should come our way. We could probably speed it up actually by angling ourselves more towards this ILS, because we've actually shaven off more than enough altitudes in speed. So, you know, looks like the scenery's gone as well, so that's fantastic. Well, not gone obviously, but it's better than it was before, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I'm saying. Right, so we're now hanging about 190 knots, which is good, and we're now at that stage. You can hear the engines firing up a little bit because they're burning off fuel. So we've shaved off a little bit too much, but that's alright. That shouldn't affect us too much. We're now just waiting on this localizer intercept, just trying to get it as perfect as possible, and we'll keep flaps 1 until we get the intercept. It's going to be a relatively short approach. As you can see, the runway is right there. It's 27 right we are landing on today, so it's quite close. And what I'm actually going to do is, once we land, I'm going to take us over to the smaller concourse where the regional jets park, just because there's no gates there, and as I said with GSX, it gives us a better opportunity to show off the stairs in more detail, rather than having jetways that don't work. So that's what we'll do once we land. Okay, we're about to get the ILS capture, and that's the ILS captured. We'll bring in flaps 5 now, like so, and we'll just arm the approach. And bring us down to 160, and we'll bring the speed brakes in even more now, just so we're lined up, like so. So that's the runway right in front of us, and we're just above the glide slope coming in there. So the runway is just over in the distance. We just have to fly over, obviously, the harbour first, but that shouldn't be a problem. And we'll just hold this approach speed for now. We'll just have a little look on the outside. Yeah, look at that, that's fantastic. Just coming in on the approach over Philadelphia. If it wasn't for the pinkness, this would be amazing. Right, so we're now captured on the glide slope and we've begun our descent. We'll hold off on deploying the gear for now, just want to give it a couple seconds. Let's have a look at the HUDs. As you can see, it's aiming us right for the runway, which is great. And remember, we're on 27 right, because we don't want to get the wrong one right now. I have hotkeyed the auto throttle and the autopilot to my mouse, so there's no problem with that, and we'll just chime the cabin crew, like so. That just lets them know to get ready for landing, as we're about to land, obviously. So for the final approach checklist, we're coming in now. That's just a couple nautical miles to go, so we can actually deploy the landing gear. It's going to get a little bit loud, so apologies. Here comes the loudness. So I'll try and speak over it as much as possible. Obviously that's not possible just because it is so loud. But we'll bring in flaps 10 now, and we'll decrease speed to our final VREF, and that will just descend as we get closer. Obviously just trying to speak as loud as possible so I can get over this noise. I know it is quite loud. I will try and edit it out as much as I can in the edit. We'll arm the speed brakes. Everything for our final approach is looking fine. And once we're about 1,000, 1,500, we'll disengage the autopilot and we can fly in now. Just bring in flaps 15 now, and we're passing that. And we are just about 5 nautical miles down from the threshold. VREF today is 40, flaps 40, speed 137, which we have got inside the NCP, which is fine. We're now just passing through flaps 25. And we'll just bring in flaps 30. And we'll hold off on final flaps just until we find approach. So we'll just set ourselves up a little bit, and we'll just get my foot on the rudder pedals, because if you see that crosswind, it's actually now turned into a little tailwind, so just in case. And full notch of flaps in now. Okay, we're pretty good. So once we're at 1000, we'll cut out the autopilot and take over the control of the aircraft myself. And it'll just generally be keeping the aircraft stable until we hit the runway. When I say hit the runway, I mean land on the runway. So one of these is the auto throttle, one of these is the autopilot. Which one is it? It's not working, I'll just have to do it manually, okay. So autopilot is now out. And we're just keeping that nice and level. Don't want that tailwind now, apparently pushing us over. Just trying to keep level with the flight director. So we're a little bit high. Slight adjustments now, just to keep that speed perfect. Still a little bit high. Trying to push us down a little bit. Just to get back on that glide slope. Yeah, that's fantastic. Again now, just pitching back up. Texture's glitching in and out a little bit, that's okay. Looking a little bit low on the pappies, we'll bring out the auto throttle just for manual control. Now this is my first landing, so it might be a little bit hard folks, so I would say brace for impact, but you know, I'm not that callous. And we'll bring the throttles up a little bit. And now here's the landing. In now, just over the threshold now. Try and grease it as much as possible. Oh, whoa, that wasn't me. Jesus. And we'll just cut the throttle out. And just grease it on some practice. Oh, I think we bounced it there. But we're on the ground, reverse throttle is now in place. I think we definitely bounced that there. I'm not sure, but I think we did. And we're just coming under 80 knots, so manual braking, reverser's green. And we'll bring the reversers out now. And we'll take that exit there, if we can. Just try and brake a little bit more. Yeah, I think we can exit here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Philadelphia. That was an alright landing for the first go. That was my first landing in over 10 months, so let me know in the comments below how you think I did. I think that was alright. We'll bring the flaps up now. Landing lights off. Keep the runway turned off, so if we can bring those off. Start up the APU. Bring the strobes off as well. And now it's just a case of taxiing really. To the stand. So we can bring flight directors off. We can just bring the throttle up a little bit more, just so everything's fine. We'll bring TCAS off now as well. We'll try not to speed along the taxiway too much. I'll need to look back at that landing because I was stuck at the moment. I was excited at the prospect of having my first landing in over 10 months. So overall that went well. So where we're going to be parking, I'll just show you, is actually just up here along to the regional jet concourse. It's where sometimes the little Learjets park, but it should be fine. I've edited it in GSX to make it okay for our purposes. And we're just going to make up a story that the whole terminal's caught on fire and the only terminal that's available is Terminal F, which is up at the top. So the APU should just be coming online now. Everything else is fine. Just watch our speed there on the taxiway. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Philadelphia. Local frames per second is around 30-35. So overall, not that hard hitting of a scenery, which is fantastic when you get obviously the downtown Philadelphia in the background with this scenery. It is freeware, but it is worth it. Well, I say worth it, it's free, so yeah, of course it's worth it. A great addition to any Flight Simmers collection, shall I say. Temperature's around 12 degrees, just increased from 11. And local time is who knows? Who knows? I don't know, because I'm not playing this in realistic time. Now, I believe I can actually... Should I cut in here, just to be safe? I'll cut in here, because I don't want to overshoot by any means. And we can just taxi around the edge. But as I said before, I'm going to get back into doing the flight simming now, so just let me know where you want me to fly, and I will happily oblige. I've got a bunch of flight sim requests. This is a flight sim request again. Sorry, I cannot remember your name, but I will put it in the comments below, just so everyone can know who came up with this brilliant idea. This is a real life flight. Southwest 5868 is a real flight. That is a real call sign. So if you want to follow along home, feel free. But we're almost done with our journey. We just need to pull into the ramp. Now that's not terminal, that's terminal E. So terminal F is just behind this. So we can taxi in there and park up. Oh look, you get see, you even get moving service vehicles. Look at that, that's fantastic. Little vehicles, great add-on, great add-on. But some people will critique my style and say that they want to see the whole descent. I sometimes cut out, as you see, I only brought you back in about 10,000. Personally, I feel like it just wastes time, and personally I know when I'm watching a flight sim video, I don't like sitting for the 10 hours of them planning the descent. I just want to see the takeoff, the montage and the landing. So I try and keep that as concise as possible for you guys, just so you're not sitting bored out of your minds. Now I believe this is concourse F, and there's the southwest gates there. So I believe we just pull in here. Now I don't actually know if we're going to be able to park here or not, because it doesn't look like there's an area to park. Or is terminal F further behind us? See, I don't know. I don't know. That doesn't look like a terminal parking, that's all I think, that's all I'm saying. Let's see if we can see outside. Right. Is there a terminal behind there? No, there's not. Right. Forget it, we'll just park in here. These are southwest stands, I think. And I could always teleport us over when we're done. So we're coming into the gate now, so I'll just turn off the lights. And I don't know any of those gate numbers, so I don't think we'll bother. In fact, oh yeah, there is parking spots there, right. They're very small though, can we fit in there? I don't know. Should we try? Should we be very cheeky and try? Let's try, right. I'm going to try parking in here. GSX might not recognise it, and if not, I'll just warp us over. This is a very, very small parking area. But for our purposes, it'll do. There's no one else here, so I believe we get liberties. Right, and there we are, just pulling it in. And we'll just let the wheel run over. And just slam the brakes on, decrease the throttle, and apply the parking brakes. Cut engine 2, we'll bring in the APU, like so. We've still got power, and we'll bring out engine 1. Like so. Now the question is if GSX will recognise this or not. Too small, right? So I'll be right back. I'll edit that quickly in the config, and I'll get our passengers off this plane. Before we do that though, we should probably shut the aircraft down. Will that be a good idea? Just so we can actually get them near the plane. Just by bringing off the things such as that. We can bring the bleeds off, we don't really need them, and we can bring the probe heats and the window heats off. Yaw damper can come off, back onto battery, and we are on the APU. And anti-collisions can now come off as well, seatbelt signs as well. Is that everything? We'll leave the IRSs on for the next crew. But that is everything I've got to do on the flight deck, so I will see you on the ground. Well, we're on the ground. I'll see you outside. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on the ground at Philadelphia. All the passengers getting off from that relatively short flight. The airtime is only around 1 hour and 30 minutes. All the passengers now desperate to get to wherever they're going in Philadelphia. And fair enough, they're getting off with their massively oversized hand luggage. And you know what, I might actually just take a screenshot, because that looks like a screenshot opportunity. They're all trailing onto the bus now, and my frames are dropping to about 5, but that's okay. Because there's just too many of them. There is too many of them. Let's go over where I can't see them. The bags have just been loaded off by B-Tech Fireman Sam's, and they're about to just take them off. All the passengers now just getting on that bus. How they're all going to fit on there, who knows? Who really cares? I shouldn't have turned the seatbelt signs off. My God, that's killing my frames. But it looks lovely, doesn't it? But yes, that was Atlanta to Philadelphia. I hope you've enjoyed. If you want to see more flights like this, don't forget to give me a flight request below, and of course make sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you've enjoyed this video, But I will leave you at that, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the first flight in 10 months, my first landing in 10 months, and it's been a pleasure to present this all to you again, now with passengers. I will see you on the next flight, wherever that might be, and until then, goodbye.